episode of the number one podcast. I am your host, Coach Jake. I hope you guys are doing well today. Yeah, man, I wanted to talk about something I think that's interesting. There's challenges at every level of the game. What's up, Uncle Alejandro, Yasin Karani, next to nothing, see Tony, Alex. Happy to see all you guys. Throw up a number one on the chat. Give me a roll call. Where you guys at? Love to hear from you. TR Ruthless, Anag, Alex '07 Cervantes, Scream Chicken Nugget. Okay, it's Chicken Nugget. I'm not going to scream it, but what's up, Noah Storm? What's up, brothers? So, yeah, man, earning more and living better. So, Alex is in Wooddale. Murr 2576. I'm 17. Is it too late to wrestle? Never too late to wrestle, man. Merc GJ. Leo, hi. Merc says, are there leg locks at catch? Leg locks came from catch. How's that? What's up, Spock? What's up, Darwesh Sports? Gonzo training, Gonzo wrestling training. I'm not sure how you differentiate Gonzo unless that's just your name, but that's cool. Reminds me of Hunter S. Thompson. Okay, high earning more, living better. A roadmap for people who are top earners. What's up, Jay Boogie? Tampa in the house. So today I want to talk about this, man. This idea of earning more, living better, and how do you live a life as a top earner? Because here's the thing, man. Every level of the game, you're going to have problems. Poor people have problems. Fish, what's up? Bay Area represent. What's up, man? I lived in the Bay Area for a minute. That was a fun time in my life. I think it's gotten pretty rough these days. I think the economy has really turned it into a shit show, no pun intended. But I used to love the Bay Area. I haven't been in a while. Is it nice still, or is it rough? I used to skateboard through Golden Gate Park and the hills of the Richmond and the hills of the Sunset District and all the way down, go down Haight, bomb that hill, man. Anyway. What's up, Smiley Steven? Yeah, I don't add people on this because I'm multi-stream and not everybody can see the Instagram feed. Anyways, guys, hit me up in the chat. Happy to hear from you. I want to talk about top earners. Now, this is going to be somewhat exclusive, unfortunately. I'm not. You all are welcome to the conversation, but I'm talking to those people that are. Let's talk about. Okay, so the top 10% of earners in the United States make $120,000 a year. So if you're a person that's making $120,000 a year, you're in the top 10% of earners in America. Okay. If you are making $200,000 a year or more, you're in the top 5%, and you have to make more than $500,000. You have to make $540,000 a year to be in the top 1% of earners in the United States. So I'm talking to the 10% right now, anybody making more than $120,000. I will do a show for you guys making less than $120,000 because I know that's the 90% of everybody else. But right now I'm talking to the 10%. If that's you, throw up a number one, give me a hey, what's up in the chat. Let me know what you do because I want to talk about you. I want to talk about what it means to be a top earner and some of the challenges that you're going to have, because everybody has challenges, right? So it's just, what problems do you want? Do you want poor person problems or rich person problems? Well, like, what are rich person problems? Rich person problems: getting sued, audited by the IRS, having people blackmail you, like having people try to steal or target you for scams. And it just depends what level of the game you're at, right? So anyway, if you don't know me, I'm Coach Jake. I'm here to talk to you. I'm a business coach. I like to consider myself an AI expert. I have an interesting background in technology and financial mathematics, and I've just really been enjoying this explosion of AI out to the general public, machine language and large language models. It's been fantastic. I'm also a best-selling author. I wrote Say Uncle and Physical Chess with Billy Robinson. In addition, I think I've written probably 15 other books. My most recent book is Sportify. Get yourself a copy. It talks about how to bring sport elements into your business because we're all really concerned with performance, whether you're in sports or in business, throwing numbers up on the board. Anyway, so today we're talking about something that affects a lot of high achieving men out there, right? A lot of high achieving men. I took the Clifton strengths assessments put out by the Gallup people that do all those Gallup polls. My number one strength was learner, and my number two was achiever. I love to achieve stuff. Like I'm set. I just do it. I can't even help it. It's who I am. So I want to dive into these challenges that people face. Um, Typically guys between 25, 45 that are earning more than 10 grand a month. If that's you, show it up in the chat. I'm not seeing anybody. Maybe you're embarrassed, but I don't know why the hell you'd be embarrassed. That means you're doing good. If you're not, listen in because this is really a challenge for a lot of people. So anyway, our first challenge that when you're a high earner is this idea of work-life balance, right? It's really, this is a super common issue for high earners, right? Because you're dedicated, you're super driven. Sometimes, though, it feels like work is all you do. And that's kind of me, man. I'm going to be real. Like, I work hard, I work a lot. I keep, like Snoop Dogg, my mind on my money and my money on my mind. So the key here is not to strive for a perfect balance because I don't think it actually exists. Okay. This is something I've talked about, and this is something one of my mentors, Grant Cardone, talks about, and I'm in full agreement with him. And that this idea of work-life balance is a bit of a myth. So what you really need is time. You want time. That's what we're really talking about. Balancing things is not the way to go. What I like to think about is this idea of integrating your work and your life. So, for example, my wife and I have a software company that's in the attractions industry, right? So it's like amusement parks, water parks. Well, guess what? We could go to amusement parks with our kids. It is a write-off. It's also market research. We're seeing what this other competitive softwares are doing or whatnot. And then our kids are super stoked because they get to go to amusement parks all the time. I think when I grew up, the local park here in Denver is called Elitch's. I think I probably went to Elitch's 3 times my entire life when my parents were taking me. I went to Disneyland once. My kids go to Disneyland at least once a year. When we were in California, it was like every weekend. And we're at an amusement park or attraction like the Renaissance Fair or whatever every week. So you've got to learn how to integrate your life. Not work-life balance, but integrate. And so, for example, fitness is important to me. So I try to do things that are also working out so I can work out with my family, so my kids. Now I understand, man, like I get it. When I was coming up, a young cat, I just turned 50, okay? So I've been in this game for a minute. When I was a young cat coming up, dude, I worked my ass off. I worked hard. And I got myself into these positions. I had my first 6-figure job. I was making close to $200,000. I was in the top 5% when I was 30. Okay. And, but my time was sunk because I was working for somebody else. I was working at an investment mortgage bank. I was working like 12, 14-hour days. And I realized, man, I want to be around my wife and I want to be around my kids. To me, it was important because I got married 2006, 2006 and started having a kid in 2007. That's when I decided to be an entrepreneur. And we're going to cover that in a minute, okay? Why that might be something really important for you if you keep banding around this idea of work-life balance, okay? Now, for you people that are working a job, this is going to be about like managing your time effectively and setting boundaries with yourself, enforcing your own boundaries. So you actually live up to what this ideal life that you actually want to have so that there's not creep where the other stuff kind of creeps in and takes over. Does that make sense? Okay, so you also need to know when to delegate and when to delete stuff. Like sometimes there's this great idea of revenue generating activities, right? Things that make money. That's where you should focus almost all your time entirely. What makes you money? And then the rest of it, delegate it or delete it so you have the free time. As a coach, I work with a lot of clients, a lot of high net worth individuals that have businesses. I typically work with businesses. By the way, I am opening for the next week. I'm going to open up working with solopreneurs. So if you're wanting to figure out how to go from a side hustle to a full hustle and actually begin building wealth and building, cash flow and living the life that you want to live on your terms, living by your wits and taking full responsibility for your life, let me know. Hit me up in the DMs. I'm doing that right now. I'm taking very few clients. I don't work with solopreneurs very often. I don't want to call it like a scholarship or anything because you still got to pay and it's expensive. But I do work with these people. You got to think of it like this. Think about return on investment. I just posted in one of my groups, my number one group on Facebook, some of these. Typically, people working with me in 90 days boost their income 30%. Just at the job that they're at. Then I show them how to actually build a business that adds more income and boost them up into that high earner bracket of over $100,000, $120,000. Okay, so the second thing after this idea of work-life balance is this idea of financial management. So David Davis out on, where are you at? You're on Facebook. Worked for someone my whole life. How to break away from this and what should a person sell or do? Okay, so David, this is actually a really great question. What you have to do, and this is what happens when I coach somebody. So we'll go through just a brief moment here, David. I appreciate you posting up on Facebook there. The first thing you have to do is you have to figure out what your lifestyle costs you. If you want to break away from working for somebody else, and remind you, when you become an entrepreneur, you're still working for other people. The thing is, you don't have one boss. You have like hundreds or thousands of bosses. The good news is if any one of them fires you, you got 999 left. Do you understand? So you still are going to work hard, but you're going to be free and you're going to be responsible and you're going to be living by your wits. It's pretty exciting, honestly. So the first thing you have to do is you have to figure out, like, what are my expenses? What is the nut that I have to come up with every month, no matter what? Rent, food, utilities, entertainment, all that, kids, child payment, whatever you got to do. You got to figure that out. And that's got to be a hard number. You got to make that number, period. You can't go below that number. So now that is your budget. You are going to lock that down until you start making some real money. You got to sacrifice if you want to do this, right? So you're going to lock it down. You're going to lock down that budget. You're going to say, no matter what, I'm going to be able to make this money. And I'm going to keep my job so I can pay this money, okay? Now you're going to find out, how can I become valuable at my current job? What else can I do? What if I bring in business? Can I get a commission? Or what if I go after accounts receivable? What if there are people who haven't paid, and instead of hiring a collection agency, you pay me 10% of whatever I collect? There are these things you can do at your existing business to boost your value to the company. Does that make sense? So the first thing to do is to lock down your budget. So let's say you spend $6,000 a month. Boom, that is it. You ain't spending no more than $6,000. Okay, that's like, what is that? $72,000 a year. So you lock that down, $6,000. Now, let's say you were making $7,000. Okay, you now need to figure out where you're at, how to boost that income. How do I do it? It's probably going to be something to do with revenue or sales or accounts receivable. Okay, find out how to do that for the business owner. Boost your income. So now you make it $6,000, or your cost is $6,000. You were making $7,000, but you bumped up. Let's say you've added another $2,000. So now you're making $9,000. Now you have an extra $2,000. That $2,000 you throw into your investment. Okay. Now you need to put your money into something that cash flows. The number one way to become a millionaire in the United States is real estate. Period. Number one way to become a billionaire is private equity, meaning buying and selling businesses. So you need to put it into something what it is that you should do, I would look into what are the highest growth industries, and I'd try to find. You can ask ChatGPT or Bard.google.com. Any of these AIs, they'll tell you that, and then I would try to match your skills to that industry to see where you fit in. Make sense? Now you've got enough money to start funding your own business. You have to then focus on a couple things. One, you got to figure out what is it that I'm going to sell? Is it a product or a service? You got to figure out what is the price for that product or service in the market with other competitors. You got to figure out how to do it better or make your product more valuable than others. And then you need to go, what is the old phrase? Early to bed, early to rise, work like hell, and advertise. This is why I've created the companies that I've created. I was talking with a young lady today. She's 25, works in data science, has a graduate degree, works for somebody else, but wants to do something else. And I told her, man, I've worked in investment banking, mortgage banking. I was a statistician. I was a quant. I did all these high-paying jobs, worked for other people. And, the great thing about working in investment banking is I was able to sit in the room with these billionaires and see what actually mattered in business. David liked my quote, what, early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and advertise. If you're in your own business, you got to do that. And that's exactly the most important thing, sales and marketing. Sure, you need to have a good product, of course. But once you have a good product or service, you have to learn how to sell and you have to learn how to market. That's why I created, you guys go check it out if you want, RevEngine.ai. It's advertising done with automation and artificial intelligence. I told you, I'm a nerd on this artificial intelligence stuff. It's the most amazing thing to happen to humankind, especially people in business, especially solopreneurs. That's really why I'm opening this up, is so I could teach you solopreneurs how to leverage a lot of this AI to make money. Dude, I have 3 businesses, 3 kids, a wife. I travel the world with the wrestling thing. I podcast. I've written 2 books. I got my 3rd book coming out. I've done all that in a year, this year. Okay. And I launched an agency. Okay. Does that make sense? So a lot of that is because I'm already a freak. I work harder than anybody. That's one of my competitors once said to me when he wasn't being a douchebag. He was like, dude, I can't outwork you. And I'm like, you never will. You never will. Probably when I'm dead, I'll probably figure out a way to outwork you then too. We got some comments out on Instagram. How do I block a choke in jiu-jitsu? Depends on the choke. Then we got how to do a rear naked choke. Okay, so here's what you do. If somebody's behind you, before they get their arms folded in, you've got to pull. First thing is wrist control. Always, always, always. When anybody, at all times, when you're a wrestler, this is why I developed the mace, because the mace develops your grip. And if you could get a grip on somebody, you could be a noodle like me, okay? A lanky, skinny dude, tall and skinny. But I don't have big muscles, but I got a fucking vice grip, pardon my language, because of the mace. So when I get a hold on you, you ain't letting go, right? Typically, there's a few, very, very few, and nobody really knows them, one-handed chokes. So most of them take two hands to really pull off. So you need to control a wrist. That's the first thing. The second, if it's a rear naked, you have to start pulling the hand off and then lift it and change the sides. Okay. If you actually go on Instagram and look at the Blake Troop video he did in a pro wrestling match, there's a guy who got a rear naked. He puts the arm on the other side, you lean into it and you can get out. If it's a guillotine, you've got to definitely make sure that you've got the hand and tuck your chin so they're not against your trachea or against your carotids. Anyway, I don't know if that helps you. I hope that helps. Can I show rear naked choke? Not without another person. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. After that, you've got to start figuring out financial management. Okay. And this is part of what I was talking about to answer David's question as well. That you've got to get control of your finances, right? Because you could be earning a high income, but a high income don't matter. It's actually your net worth. They're two different things. There's a difference between an income statement and a balance sheet, right? Your income statement is the income that comes in. Your balance sheet is what all the stuff you own, right? So this also matters with regards to taxes because your income statement is going to be earned income, which is taxed. Whereas passive income, like from real estate, is not taxed the same way. You're not taxed as bad. Does that make sense? So you want to start that extra buffer that you're starting to earn. You need to start throwing it into an investment. Now, that investment could be real estate, or that investment could be your own business. Okay, but you're not going to get there without actually trying to actually control your spending and understand finances, right? Because it's not just about saving, it's not about investing. It's about really knowing, like, what are your financial goals? Do you even have financial goals? I can tell you mine. My immediate goal right now is I need to hit 50 grand a month consistent. Every month, 50 grand. Now that's not income for me. I have employees, but for one of my companies, my goal is to hit 50 grand a month. Another financial goal is to have $100 million net worth. I'm not there. I'm at a fraction of that. Okay. But these are the goals. You need to know what you want. Otherwise you can't even get there. Right. For your GPS to work, you got to know the destination, just not where you're at. Okay. So, when I coach people, not only am I an expert in it, I have a master's degree in financial mathematics. I worked, I had a Series 6 and 65 license. I'm a financial coach under Dave Ramsey, which I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what he says, but some of the principles are very sound. Plus, I have a killer Rolodex of other experts that I refer people to. Okay. The other challenge after work-life balance, after financial management, is health, right? Because stress is the number one killer. And a lot of times these high-income jobs are the worst. So I got a question here. Chodhari091 is asking me, sir, I had a lipoma in my shoulder. My wife had one of those. And wrist or calf. If I play wrestling, so it's good for me or not? Dude, I don't know. You probably need to ask your doctor about that. From what am I understanding, if it's just a lipoma, that's just like a fatty deposit. Shouldn't be bad as long as it doesn't gross out your wrestling partners, Okay, so back to it. High income earners, these people that I call high income earners, HE, not retired yet, NRY, Henrys. High income earners not retired yet. Beyond the work-life balance, making sure that you're not a workaholic, beyond financial management issues, so you're not just pissing away all that income, you do need to take care of your health, right? This is why, like in an airplane, if you got kids, they tell you to put on your mask first because you're no good to anybody if you're dead. You're not going to help nobody. So you got to make sure your health and wellness is taken care of. And sometimes these high earners, these top earners, are in stressful positions. And you don't need to be. So much of this is just mindset as well, right? A lot of it is mindset. You can execute on this stuff. Hey, Zach, I appreciate you, man. We got so many people in the chat. John, great teacher, Zach. What's up, Mason? I see you, brother. Queso, Christina Gimger, Hirsch, John, Zach. I don't let people in on the feed because I got like 10 other feeds, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and they can't actually get what you're saying. So if you want to throw something in the chat, I'm happy to discuss it. But your physical health, man, you got to make it a priority. So I'm still a freak. I'm 50 years old. I banged up. My shoulder is jacked. I've got a giant blockage in this shoulder. I'm missing a carotid in my left. Carotid's gone. I have a broken rib still in my back. I have so many injuries, it's ridiculous. But I will tell you something. This is very interesting because when in 2008 is when the doctors best estimate when I had the carotid dissection and my artery collapsed. I started having strokes. I was having strokes, mini strokes. Like I was losing my vision, losing the ability to use my hand. I didn't know what these were. I wasn't educated about it. And so I went on. I wrestled. So the carotid dissection, my left carotid 100% occluded, 100% closed, sealed in 2008. I continued wrestling until I finally retired in 2013. I just couldn't go. I was like, what is going on? I was getting lightheaded because I was getting half the oxygen. And when I quit, it was also about 2 months later that Billy Robinson passed away. And Billy Robinson was my coach and was very close to me, changed my life. And I went into a funk and I was like, F this, I'm not wrestling. I mean, I just did not want anything to do with it. It was just, my identity was destroyed because I couldn't wrestle anymore. And then my coach, a guy who changed my life, died on top of that. And he was associated with the field. I was like, done. But here's the problem. Because I had always done grappling and wrestling for my fitness, I didn't really have a fitness routine. And so I got out of shape. My body started to atrophy, in particular, you'd still see it with my neck. It's totally fucked up and atrophied. And my shoulders. And then arthritis started setting in, and I was in excruciating pain. And it took me a while. I didn't know. I'm like, what in the F is going on, man? First, I'm having all these weird blindness issues with the strokes that I didn't know. And then my body's in pain. I thought I was dying for a minute there. Like, we're talking probably 2012 to about 2013 ish, I'm guessing. No, it was like 2013, 2014. And it just was awful, dude. It was awful. Long story short, I started to pick up yoga again. I had done a little bit in college and I was like, dude, I need to do something. And I realized that movement is medicine. That got me better. And I doubled down and I went way hard. And now I work out as hard as I ever have, but I have to do it solo. One of the places I go that I love is this new fitness program called HotWorks, where you go into an infrared sauna. It's 130 degrees. I go in there, I bang out 15 minutes on the rower, 15 minutes on the elliptical, 15 minutes on the cycle. Then I do 40 minutes still in the sauna of calisthenics, which basically boils down to 100 squats, 50 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, and then I go and I hit the weights. And mostly I just do a compound squat exercise. So anyway, Ninth Paladin of Mars, what's up, Mason? Every physical sport activity requires lifting weights and yoga stretches. I suppose so. Yeah, I don't see any problem with that. Eli Sums says, yes. I don't know what he's talking about, but maybe my workout. So anyway, if you've got to prioritize your health, dude. I did not even realize it. I will never neglect it. Movement is medicine. I realized this. The other thing too is that I wasn't getting any, wrestling and grappling is some of the best cardiovascular exercise, but I wasn't doing any of it. Like if you go look at footage of me from 2014, and yeah, I think it was the end of 2013 through all of 2014. And then 2015, I started figuring it out again. I was a disaster, dude. I was out of shape. I was miserable. I was in pain. I was not getting the cardio. And you have to exercise. You have to exercise. Okay. So that is a big part of my coaching as well. My business coaching is that I insist people get moving physically. Because a lot of times these people will be like, oh, I'm on this pill or that pill for depression or anxiety. I'm like, go fucking exercise, man. Your body will handle all of that stuff if you exercise and hard. You got to push. You got to go into discomfort. This is where I really dig a guy like David Goggins, where, he's got that wrestler's mindset of just go as hard as you can. Go as hard as you can. You understand? So after health, okay, right, we talked about financial management. We talked about the idea of work-life balance. Now we talked about health and fitness. You've got to start focusing as well. If you're a high earner or you want to be a high earner, you have to focus on personal and professional development, right? Career advancement. How are you going to grow? How are you going to stay engaged? How are you going to continue to enjoy what you do and make a difference, but do it in a way that's valuable enough to other people where they pay you more money? High earners aspire to grow professionally, okay? Leadership, decision-making, strategic thinking, public speaking. This is where they all fumble, though. Those are the things when you hit a certain level, you got to push hard. You can't be complacent, man. You always have to be growing. That's the thing that I like about the whole 10x movement. Once you set big goals, when you hit them, make your goal 10 times as big as it was before. So it's really hard. That's how you grow. That's how you feel satisfied in your life. Make sense? This is some, again, that I do with my coaching. So the last thing that I want to talk about, and then I do got to check because I actually have some coaching clients I got to get to, um, is what I alluded to earlier, and that's entrepreneurship. Starting your own business is a dream for many, but it does have challenges. I I can't tell you how many people. I'm so proud to do what I do because I believe that the two I'm into professional and personal development. I really am. This is, I think, goes back to that thing I was talking about with the Clifton Strengths Assessment. I am an achiever, okay? And I believe that both wrestling and entrepreneurship are the greatest methods for personal development ever known to man because it is brutal. When you get out there and you really try to make a dent in the universe in either field, highly competitive, rough, it's amazing it's that pressure that makes diamonds, right? It's that pressure that makes a lemon into lemonade, coal into a diamond. Pressure is actually a privilege. This is also what I'm talking about with the workout. Vladimir Kilmore says, I stick to my weekly routine no matter what. Good, dude. Yeah, routine's going to be also good on the work-life balance thing, the integrating everything into your life. So one of the things you need to do when you're an entrepreneur, like I said, I broke it down. If you're looking to jump, you've got to figure out how you can jump and keep paying those bills. So you're going to have to do two at once. But people do this shit all the time. They work multiple jobs, or maybe they go to grad school while they work, like I did. I worked multiple jobs. Like, you have to get rid of any of this nonsense of 9 to 5 or that somebody owes you something. You owe it to yourself, and that means you might have to work 5 to 9 instead of 9 to 5. Okay? This is the thing that I find. The reason why people don't achieve is because they actually don't love themselves. That's some heavy shit, man. If you're a loser, it's largely probably your fault because you did not love yourself enough to push into the hard stuff where everybody else falls off, because that's where you come out and shine. Is what, like my company, Scientific Wrestling, 20 years. Do you know how many jokers I've seen come and go? 20 years. You've got to push, right? Mason says, start an OnlyFans. Yeah, dude, if you're a chick. But then you're going to regret that, man, because you're going to be commodifying something that you wanted to hold perhaps special for somebody in your life. This is the problem with these young people, is they're given all these easy ways out to make money, but they end up destroying your self-esteem, and then you can't make more money because if you don't respect yourself, do you want to give money to somebody you don't respect? No. Do you want to work hard for somebody you don't respect? No. You'll quit that job. Well, if that's you, you're going to quit on you. And that's the problem. These people get sucked into it. This is the same thing that happens with girls that get into stripping. I mean, OnlyFans just basically is like the Zoom of stripping. It's the truth. You can quote me on that. OnlyFans is the Zoom of stripping. Anyway, the great thing about the challenges of being an entrepreneur is that everything relies on you. But the great thing about being an entrepreneur is that it's all you and it's all yours. You get the glory, you get the money, but you have to do all the work too, a lot of times, right? And part of the challenge to really make impact that I think a lot of people lose sight of, and this is why the vast majority of entrepreneurs are solopreneurs. Like, it's like 90% or something. I'd have to look up the exact stat, but you can do it yourself. It's a huge number. And they make up the enormity of the backbone of the American economy. But the challenge is that you're not going to make impact as a solopreneur. It's near impossible. You need to start figuring out how to grow and scale and how to replicate yourself, reproduce what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to be the bottleneck. Does that make sense? So That's it for today. Guys, you need to go get signed up for the Certified Catch Wrestler Accelerator camps. Dude, we are selling out. Adding King Mo to the already, and Brandon Ruiz to Wade Chalice and Josh Barnett, and then adding Harry Smith. Dude, we have one hell of a tour. Plus all of the great elite scientific wrestlers, coaches, me, Sam, Jesse, Gil Olivas, Luis Ojeda. Dude, you don't want to miss this, man. It's kicking off. You've got 3 weeks. Denver is the first one. Then we go to Windsor. Okay. It's going to be King Mo in Denver, and then we're doing Harry Smith up in right next to Detroit. Go sign up. Show up. You're going to be glad we've been doing these for 15 years. I've had thousands of guys come through this program. Okay. You want to go get signed up. Trust me. Also, if you are interested in that combination that I said about being both an entrepreneur and a grappler and making money with something that you are passionate about, you want to check out the scientificwrestler.com affiliate program. Oh, Mason says he's going to both. Nice, dude. Yeah, Mason was smart. He bought the season pass, which ends up saving you 30% off. It's like, dude, I'm already cheaper. I know, like, you get 12 hours of training with a guy like King Mo and myself, who spent 20 years studying this with the best. You get 12 hours with us, a 2-day camp, plus access to scientific wrestling for life, discounted future camps, less than what Danaher charges for 1 hour. I mean, I don't even understand it, guys. I don't understand it. It's not rational. But that's true. That's a truth in sales. Sales is emotional. So I'm holding out for faith that you will be rational and be a scientific wrestler. Fuck around and find out. Come on out to camp. You're going to love it. Go to coachingcatch.com or certifiedcatchwrestler.com. All right, guys, I'm going to jump. If you guys have any specific questions, now's the time. Otherwise, my client's going to be waiting for me in 4 minutes. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Talk to you next time.